September 4th, 2020, first Friday of the month. It's non-farm payrolls day. Good morning from Europe. Good afternoon, good evening, guys, wherever you are. Piotr here, this is Light Forex Global YouTube channel. Before we are going to discuss the non-farm payrolls, before we are going to discuss the possible outcomes, let's go through the risk warning as usual. Please bear in mind, trading on margin carries a high level of risk, might not be suitable for all investors. You can sustain a loss of some or all initial investment, so please do not invest the money you cannot afford to lose. Seek education, gain experience before risking real money. However, past performance doesn't guarantee future results. All right, so it's all about the US dollar again. I've got for you few primary dealer guesses. The median estimate is 1.5 million, but for example, BNP Paribas 2.25, Citi 2.1 million, Societe Generale 2 million, Goldman Sachs 1.9, HSBC 1.6, Morgan Stanley 1.5, UBS 1.5, JP Morgan 1.4, Nomura 1.35, Bank of America Merrill Lynch 1.2, Deutsche 1.2, Credit Suisse 750,000 only. Again, median estimation is like 1.5 million. All right, so that's what we have when it comes to non-farm payrolls guesses. And of course, we are going to go through a few US dollar charts. We will start with the Aussie USD because we got Australian retail sales and it was mostly in line. So post RBA, post week GDP, we got retail sales in line. And now what is going on here? Well, from the perspective of the, well, I would say rather long term, looks like the break of the weak point over here, which never been retested. That's the crucial in my opinion here, because otherwise we would be there already. But anyway, the latest weakness never, after the breakout, never been tested. So 66, 60, 66 here is a crucial. Of course, that's the weekly chart. It's not gonna happen overnight. Now, we see some kind of the weakness going on, right? But I wouldn't be, from the seller's perspective, I wouldn't be that happy yet. Why? Because we had previously few similar situations that we got 1 week pullback and rally, even bigger rally, right? So very careful here, trying to call end of the move to the upside when it comes to the Australian dollar versus US dollar. Let's have a look what kind of the crucial levels we have when it comes to the daily chart. And here we go. Let's start with the buyers, and the buyers are around 72.50, 72.40. We discussed quite a few times. Why is that? First thing first is this breakout candle, and the bottom of that candle being tested during the Tokyo session. A little bit of the stop count, right? What else? It's also broken previous swing high over here, right? So the market is looking to hold these levels, right? And it's as I mentioned, 72.50, 72.40, right? On the other hand, taking into the consideration yesterday price action, we got back inside the rising channel, right? We got back inside the rising channel. So now the supply is based again around the top of that channel, and the top of that channel is Wednesday low currently, right? So that's where I do expect some sellers will appear. In that case, levels close to 70, 73. So we have when it comes to the intraday chart, right, which we are going to switch into in a second, we have 73 as a possible supply, all right, and we have 72.50, 72.40 as a possible possible demand, all right. So to the downside, what we have to the downside, we are nicely going down within the intraday falling channel. We are testing the top of that channel right now. I'm sorry about the noise outside. Yeah, this time when they're trying to build something close to the place I'm living. Anyway, what I'm gonna to look for when it comes to the selling opportunity, intraday selling opportunity, 73.15, top of that channel, but also that's the previous level of the demand, right? From here we saw higher levels, and once we tested, we seen the bounce. So 73.15, that might be some kind of the intraday supply. When it comes to the demand, as we speak, as we discuss, levels close to 7 to 40. If we are going to be the buyers, and if we are going to be the on the right side, then if we are going to break 73.15, we might reopen immediately levels close to 74. If it and then of course if we are going to take out the high over here, higher levels. If we are the sellers, then we have to switch to the higher time frame again, and maybe right, it's gonna be like one rally one. In that case, bottom of that channel could be tested, right? So the failure at the upside, so retest of the bottom of the channel could be in place. In that case, we are discussing about the levels close to 7180, 7150. But if we are going to be here, then 70.40 and psychological 70 gonna be crucial. But as I mentioned, from the weekly chart perspective, don't be too excited because of the current move to the downside. We've seen that happen already, right? So maybe it's like 1, 2. This wave is gonna also showing there is a chance to retest the bottom of the channel, right? So that's how I see Australian dollar for now when it comes to ahead of the non-farm payrolls. We do have also let's switch here and let's make it that way. We do have also Canadian job market today, right? So of course Canadian dollar is going to be on the radar list, especially that within the levels we discussed that the close to 130 might be tested, right, some time ago. So what is going on currently, there was some kind of a little bit of the stop count swing low creation and the break above the weekly open. Right now this level is going to be retest, and we have a supply around 31.70 being tested yesterday, right? With that being said, let's switch lower and let's have a look what we have on the early chart from that perspective, right? And here what I like here eventually is of course the weekly open is a number one, and that's the level where we were when we were below, we were going lower, right? Here, and even here. Now, when we broke that yesterday, right, we are trying to hold. So I'm going to watch very carefully 130.90, 131, right, the weekly open from the buyer's perspective. There is one more possible intraday buying level, but it's lower, close to 130.25. Well, looks like we missed by a few pips that level, so some liquidity levels could be looking for a liquidity market may want to hit few more stops. But from the bulls perspective, I would rather try to hold above the weekly open, and that immediately telling me that this consolidation, right, before the breakdown might be targeted, and 50% of that consolidation levels around 31.80, 32. So, well, like the figure to the upside, right? On the other hand, when it comes to the sellers, the 31.80, 32 as a supply with the possible stops above 32, 35, right? So if you are a seller, you want to see higher levels towards 31.80, 32 with the stops above 32, 35. If you are a buyer, well, I would say intraday lower shadow somewhere around the weekly open, something similar to what we've seen yesterday, right? So attempt to go lower with the failure, lower shadow and higher levels. That's how I see USD CAD. Again, we have both Canadian and US jobs numbers coming in at the same time today, right? And finally, euro dollar, no change in view. Still think that the equal bottom around 17 or just below 1760 might be targeted. The only thing it might be delayed is yesterday price action, because we got some other stops, right? Not the major in my opinion, but we got some stops anyway over the course of the day. We created lower shadow and we closed much higher. So today, Wednesday low, yesterday low are crucial, right? Are crucial. Now, if we are going to break anyway to the downside, how can we measure what kind of the levels we might test? Well, quite easy. What we are going to check is a distance between Wednesday and Thursday low, right? And if we are going to create another lower shadow but taking the stops below, so we are making the measure, this time measuring yesterday low to the downside. And in this case, as you can see, look, in this case, well, nicely, stops might be done, especially it's, I'm not saying, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but the yesterday price action, nice invitations for the buyers. Oh yeah, lower shadow, let's go and buy, right? Especially that it was the retest of the bottom of the channel, so it was natural buy, but not here, right? It was natural buy eventually. I've been waiting for stops. I didn't went long. I haven't found the possibility to try to buy. So anyway, I'm still waiting for the stops, meaning that I do believe we might see a little bit lower levels, right? But then, of course, I would like to see quick reversal, right? Because otherwise, if we are going to close the day below, that might be not necessarily very interesting from the bulls perspective. So no change in view when it comes to the buying euro dollar, if we see some kind of the reversal, and when it comes to the selling, also no change. Okay, the same levels close to weekly open, especially that some guys may try to, you know, use this formation. Some may call it inverted head and shoulders. It is not, in my opinion, because it's not at the very bottom. We have lower levels here. But anyway, something looks like head and shoulders. So if we are going to make the measure, then the weekly open really could come into play, and then again 1960, no change when it comes to the euro dollar. What is worth to mention also how euro is behaving lately, right? So euro Aussie yesterday, strong rally. We found buyers again at the same level, around 61.50, right? Euro pound outside day yesterday, we discussed these levels. What I'm trying to tell you that Aussie USD, USDCAD could be the long play, but not necessarily you wanna sell euro, because euro is not the weakest one. So do your homework, do your own research. With that being said, guys, don't be trapped during the non-farm payrolls announcement. Stay safe and see you around. Take care. Goodbye.